nakugamba
yes
nti obusika bwa Museveni bugenda kubeera mu okuyiwa omusaayi. Why? When two rivaling groups are fighting over each cause a right, the war cannot end. If this ono mujozono bwaba alowooza nti ndi mufukamirirako amwe emandwa tefukamira tujja kubagana emyaka 2.
So olabawo obusika mu kulondebwa kwa Mao.
Yes.
Kutya.
Anti kyenkunyonyola. To which are the catchment areas of a successor? Nombozi imbuo bubwa.
Atuvuma bantu mwamino.
You left the Democratic Party. Nikadino kamuwanga chikumbi. Bono boruzunga political pendulums. Mao yabana abujja Buganda.
Political pendulums.
Yes. They don't know that when DP was defeated in Uganda after the 1962 elections, it retreated to northern Uganda. Mao, we are reciprocating. We are paying back. Whenever DP is affected, it retreats in the Catholic Church or goes to the north.
So is Mao getting stronger or he has lost it?
Let me tell you.
But numbers of DP block.
Tebaliyo. These are idiots. Mabiche. Kaduka damu DP. Nekagenda nekaisiba kubwa meya. Kaisi. Mabiche. Naye muntu. Yali abyechi. Credible person to condemn this man, Mao. Urubise mwogerere. Those are idiots. They left. Bava makabala byo musajja akutaka lubako Mao.
Batuzizo olukiiko walabye
andi kubulidde beetaaga kusiba
owebuyikwe mukwano
gwange. They are being sponsored. The Lulume is stupid.
Dr. Lulume
they are being sponsored by this man who is looking for a political party.
Native mabantu kwa solo abantu kwa ku radio bawuliriza abana bato.
Nyambula bwe nali omwavu wandeka wonzifunye lwakyo nnondola nyambula wanvuma obunafu nyambula banyambula tebadda mu DP neko kimanyi ndizo sina kadi ye nale mu nene ya DP.
Oyina ya DP?
Yes, ya 1980.
Ati kibina kyaweddewo.
Ati kyaweddewo kitya omusajja. Let me tell you.
Bano banenya Mao kubali amu.
Whenever we get a problem in Uganda, we look for the Democratic Party. In 1969, when Obata abolished and the political parties and declared a single party state, he picked the Secretary General of DP, Basiri Batalingaya, to be his Minister of Internal Affairs. When Amin took power, he released Chiwanuka and made him Chief of Justice. DP is a home of brain power. When Museveni came in 1986, he borrowed the money power from the Democratic Party. Yes or no?
True.
Today, Mao is the most clean person among the leaders of the opposition. Who can make an alliance with the Muhoozi? They are friends. You were stupid. This man, Mao, and this is stupid. You see, abantu abamu oba bali amere kitu jimmembwaza ffe. NRM entertains gives more attention to newcomers than its original supporters. The moment you support Museveni, you are dead. I wouldn't have been treated the way I've been treated. If I'm not a hard-working man, my children will not be going to school. The only consolation is that my children are very bright. They go to bad schools, but I've never seen Museveni giving me a coin. Mudino genda kokachiko, but at the canon night, but at the cani. And where are me? Baba just said, Nino Okuvera hunting it on Swerempun. May have never been hunting a dog. Never, Mubraine. Sisobola Swerempunu. To be an advisor and Swerempunu.
You are an advisor.
I'm not. Call it to me. Back at you. What entertainment you cook? Every time Uganda is in need of a credible person, you come to the Democratic Party.
Every time Uganda needs a credible.
Yes. This is not the first time. Ben Chiwanuka.
Mao inachagatta ku government eno.
Yes. Mao is credible. This government is dogged by the problem of human rights violations. And Museveni is a very tactful man. Has put him in the Ministry of Justice. Ministry of Justice is very important. One, we have people who have been planning to go through Parliament instead of subjecting themselves to an election. Agamateka mautajaga kiriza. No. He is going to restore the judiciary. Ninama simu nga wali abajoza babadde bakubira abalamuza amasimu.
Abakubira abajoza.
Lwaki Museveni yaleeta gundi yale Mukasa Mululi. Chiwanuka ne bamukubye.
Mbulira.
We are going to have reforms, political reforms. Who is in charge of political reforms? We've been complaining about NOPU people in prison. That's an assignment of Mao. If Mao manages to release these people from prison, it will be a very big embarrassment to Bobi Wine. Why? Mao, like a Bobi Wine, have been lamenting in the press conferences. Political power is the influence and advantage. When a house girl becomes a housewife, sleeps in a different bed, decides what to cook, that's where Mao has gone. He has now political power and influence, which Bobi Wine does not have. A man who has been lamenting, and Mao has got married and remained a virgin. Mao
has gotten married,
yes,
and he has remained a virgin. How?
Yeah.
Where is the virginity?
I've seen Museveni signing 3 agreements. One, the Nairobi agreement that failed because of I have no time to explain. Owinye Dolo negotiated a deal between Museveni and the rebels under Okero. Owinye Dolo. It worked. And as a result, Owinye Dolo was the Minister of International Relations until he suffered the Buto incident. The Bamuyira Buto. The Mutwale of Erongo time Mujanjaba, changes came. He bounced back. You know, Mulvesi. To what is the government Agamba? I prefer to work with the Northerners. Bamukubye, Mao siwe. Today, abasajjabo abatta abantu ne batula organize abo. Babadde bagoba buli Minister wa Justice. Balemesa bagemire. Ne bajjawo Otafiire. Ne bajjawo n'omusajja wa UPC. Kuluno bafunye a hostile Minister of Justice. Ayimukama otende. Obusajja buno tunabuwumulako obwatta abantu. Obuganyo obulowooza mbu busobola okukyukani. Mwe mujogeze mutani wa Yohana Mirundi. Ndimbafuka miremwe nswere mpunu. Ngende ku president's office under somebody. Eyawandikanga nti to his excellency the president briefing as what president through minister of president nswere mpunu. I went home. Ndikola mundala. Nenga sijogeddwa.
Olikola mu government eddako?
Yes, but not this one. Eno yansala nakkiriza. Any idiot who says that Mao has sold the Democratic Party is stupid.
Siba sanyufu n'akamu.
Nedda.
Bayogedde nga bonna mitaafu.
Let me tell you, when Jesus picked St. Paul from Abafarisayo, where the Bafarisayo happy, when Semogerere was serving government for 9 years under Museveni, Museveni found him in the government as the Minister of Internal Affairs. A group calling itself DP Mobilizers Group used to fight the government to incite it to ban the democracy. What has Mao done? Mao has come with an agreement. In fact, this man who has now seen that his chances is the one who wants to create a virtue in the Democratic Party. Aje ayinsolinga yoba mabiche wakola de ekibinde ekicho mabike tayinza kudda mu DP tumukuba kaduka.
Media consultant Joseph Tamale Mirundi mutabani wa Mole Namatovu ne Yohana Mirundi mu studio zamazo okutuuka
kasoga mandi ndi advisor nkuchapira olwe nenkuva n'ebyuma byonna nembimala
kasitachi
If you introduce me as Museveni's advisor, I slap you.
You don't want to be referred to as...
It will never be.
Ogambye.
Even at a particular time, it will be expunged from my records.
Chori.
Tikiri you. Very reported. All woman for abantu bayize ennaku zino mbeebaza nnyo olw'omusajja muyita Wakapobulo ampeereza emitwalo 5 nteekemu amafuta
Isaac wa Pakabulo mutabani wa
bwebangoba
James Bapakabulo
n'amafuta Luhabooko yakajjawo n'agoba ne Nakyobe naye nze ndi nkoko emanyi okwebojjera because many people don't know the situation I have. Banwanyisa ne bangoba olwa organic case. President ne bamulimba. Nempona obutwa poison. Nempona sags okunzita hide sags and have recordings. Nenkolaje. Which means I will never work in this government again. Kakati fe abakiza mu by'Ekiganda, mu bimuyite by'Ekiganda, nange nabawabire ewaffe. Sisobola kulya nabo, sobola bakwata mu ngalo, sobola kuba meeting okujja kunga bate.
Wakwata mu ngalo, bewamale ebbanga.
Nga bateegudde.
No, wakwata ndumwenda mu ngalo.
Ate bakwata mu ngalo.
N'omugwane mu kifuba.
Omenye eddagala lye nakola ku olwo. Twatuulako ffenna twalyako ffenna emmere. Kuba banjooga nnyo. Meeting gye nalimu ne president, how I was humiliated by narration. Nyizo muntu ne mutta. When again they waffe nakolima nnyo. We shall never work together. Munsi okujja ngotira rituals zetukozeza amaanyi nnyo. Kale siridda mu government. Sinza kulya nabo, sinza bakwata mu ngalo, sinza kukola ki. Emyaka 10 na family yaffe bonye nnyo. Eyange. My brothers are very rich people. Nedda omulenzi ono yanjoga. Nengenda muwabire waffe mu nsozi. Akasaana kakaaba. Tayina mirembe. Halimala kuteegula. Bajja kuteegula. Ejogiri mulimu mutwe tafunanga ku mirembe. I'm working in difficulties. But many people believe nti I'm a rich man, I'm what? No. Ejogiri no lino okubaka mulwamu. Sinza kuteesa nabo.
Kati ogenda kukola otya mu mitama.
Bwekityo, I work in another government. According to my tradition, sisobola kutuula nabo mu meeting. I will never talk to Lwabogo. I will never negotiate with Lwabogo. I will never talk. Kati ate bo balowooza nti basobola okunyigirira n'enjogera nabo. I was watching. I told them. Nalabye mwenda ne munne bwe bajooga ennyo abantu nga bagenze w'omusajja ali ku Serena Tanzania ne Canadian. Very rich man. Yabagambye mukomewo ku mmande siina budde bwamu. Nemulabye ng'ayogera nabo. Has listed my name. Bali bambulokinga. Kuba ababuuza nina okukkiriza nfukamire Lwabogo ekita. Museveni. Siridda.
Badde banyo ensonga zammwe zaggwawo.
Zitya.
Bwe twalaba bifaananyi.
Ebyo bya buli nalirwanidde ku gundi ya Muhoozi.
Naye wajja ne wano n'otugamba ekintu okitadde.
Nkugambye tuyina okukola emikolo. Endiga nga y'amagulu 3 ate nga ga bitege ng'ate yandali.
Temusonyiwagananga.
No. Nagende waffe n'enkaba nalwe mwetemuma even Museveni kambabuulire. President Museveni, that's why he's not hard on me. Ampa security n'emmotoka omutali mafuta. Why? Yawuliriza akatambi. The way Museveni humiliated me on that day. Nga narration n'enakalima genda waffe mu nsozi. Nenkolima. We cannot sit together.
Wagenda mu nsozi n'okolima.
Akasaana kabuubuuka n'ekye kabakoze. Ani yanjoka yansongamu olunwe. Ayina emirembe mu nsi. Okujjako nga baleesese.
Abaakukijjanya.
Ate b'obusiru bwabwe babulookinga buli ssente yonna. Nina okumukkiriza njoge ng'ojogaani. Nange ngenda kukuma kasaana kakusaanya. Kamubya ejjogo lino. Teri yansonga mu lugala ayina mirembe.
Oli kukuma kasaana.
Kabuubuuka.
Walopa mu nsozi.
Nagende ewaffe. I was humiliated that night.
Kyekyaliwo?
You don't know. Museveni n'awulira akatambi 2 hours. ate bali gundi yankwata. I was arrested by Sabit. Yansanga ku National Theatre. He did not even allow me to go home to change clothes.
Yali deputy IGP.
But we are friends. Singa batu mumulano. Nani yamukubira umuti. Kubanga abakuzi bano bali ba nakalema nena lwe. Meeting echa. Nabatamu nyinzo besa sana mu amudi. Nyinzo bana.
Crying.
Yes, I wake up at night and cry. Singasa, I regret the day I met Museveni. Abana bagere babona I have a large family. Mbuvanu de ono mulenzi lwaboka ajja kumfukamiza ngofukamize mandwa. Nze ndi mandwa ne wafe bantia. Amwe mandwa. Bajja mu baba mukubye. Yawuliriza kateepu bwati for 2 hours. Ningamba kati mfudde. Museveni is a fool. Vote in Babas.
Mukatambi?
Yes.
Akajingirire.
Museveni closed his eyes for 2 hours. Kali katwa.
Ngakala ganti gwayogera.
Ere yambuza Mr. Mirundi. Museveni had respect for me. Yampitanga Mr. Mirundi. Ero lumu yabagamba. Mr. Mirundi has information that you people don't have. Give him unfettered access to me. Not way so. Not way so. President Nabagamba. Mukulu munange muwonyeza nagende wa president. Kamama nga bamwokera mu nyumba. Nentuukawo omukyala bamwita Kankunda. Ate Kankunda yali tanjagala. Bayina entalo zaabwe zibalwana mu State House. Kakati bawa Kankunda nafuna ebizibu n'alowooza nti nze naliikinze mu mawulire. Kozi High Commissioner wa Bungereza yali ayagala kumanya nti Museveni yabadde atwala ssente ebweru. Temujjukira skande yali mu State House, £100,000. High Commissioner wa Bungereza yagenda mu New Vision n'abagamba mu kikube to see the reaction of Museveni. Museveni yali mugezi nnyo saategeera ki. In that week he went to Germany. Museveni n'agamba be balyako ssente mu Uganda mujje mumbuulire ng'abejjusa. Myai knew it was the British High Commissioner in Uganda who influenced that story in New Vision. Nefuluma ngondo bamukutte ne ssente ndi azitwalawa. I was talking to somebody one. Nemugamba nti omwana wange bwe yali agraduatinga Scotland mu mafuta. Naye nagenda omusajja bambuuza aba immigration, are you bringing Museveni's money? Nibaga for what? But we are reading here you are a spokesperson of the president of Museveni, Scotland. Why haven't you landed in the land history? Nibaga I'm coming here. My son is graduating. Nengo manyinti area somero mwe graduating gira amafuta. Ngali amanyi nnyo. Abaduka fetwaliwo batono nnyo. Abayina amu abaana ababasomeramu. Kati ndagwa Scotland. Kagana omusajja ambuuza, have you come with a pistol? Nimuga, you were stupid. I used to abuse Bazoum. When you peruse through my passport, this is my first time to travel. Have you come with a pistol? Nimuga, you are an idiot. There's no way.
Airport.
Airport, ati bankola chenti bankomya ubukomi. Nze ne kwembasi Nvuma. Atogenda kukola ki? Era nze bambuuzanga, nze omuzungu bwambuuza, did you pack this bag yourself? No. Big people in Africa like me, we don't pack
for ourselves.
Women. But other people, to admit, nze omusajja wa intelligence, ensawo gye mumulaba entabe ku airport, abazinga oluveera luno, bagezi nnyo. Bakugiramu ebintu byo. Ne bateekamu ensawo endala. Ne bateekamu enjaga nga bwe ndabaga nti twali tugenda London. Ne badda kamera ne bagiteekamu enjaga. Laba amayi ebyange. Ne batuga nti nga temunnalinya waliyo omukolo mu State House mugende mu covering. Lwe tutegeera nti kamera zetubadde tugenda nazindala ne batukwatireyo zirimu enjaga
batega enjaga mu kamera zemwali mugenda
yes batugenda nazo
ebyo ne bikulabula
bwe tutuuka mu State House bagenda okukebera nga kamera zirimu enjaga zetutambula nazo nabaga let me tell you younger people security yali enjagala nnyo up to today if these cameramen had planned it to take marijuana to Britain once they knew the same machines which are at the airport and the same machines you have here enjaga bali jiyiye enjaga eri planted era mpima bamugoba ne kato badduka these people are malicious. I've never seen a malicious group. I will be surprised if these are Balokole unless you have a new brand of Balokole. If they are Balokole, this is a new brand of Balokole, and I wouldn't be to be a Malokole. What I saw in the State House, I wrote a book inside the palace. We've
State House mwakolere myaka 10.
I can 14 years. I regulate why I joined there. It killed my political future. There's something, even if, when you talk about Okero House, blood surges. When you talk about State House, I don't want to hear the word State House. I'm telling you.
The place where you worked for that long?
Yes.
Erimukama omwami Museveni?
Nkugambi. Nti ne bwenfa olwaleero obubaka bwa Museveni tebabusoma ku kabuli yange. What has he done to us? Mange baamukuba.
Na mutaasa n'okyogera wano
nti bwe yamutaasa yagamba mukulu munnange mumunde eti nampa n'obukadde obwo ne mbumutwalira nalwiso ne Nakalema baamugula. Atambula awenyera. Omusajja ali mu America yamuwadde akagaali k'abalema not Museveni. Government in the leading Sasula. But I'm a very bitter man.
Okay, mwamiru ntukomyo.
You know musango kwa bogoga ne gutambula kubalemedde. Bali bampese ekyankwaze nali ngenda kutulika 10 bafu. Batugera obusungu obwo. Mbunze gwe bajoga. Atenze n'okujogebwa.
Ogendeyo bakujoga.
Baddemu bajoga. Denounce the taps. Katonda kakoji nza bakoledde emyaka 10 ne programu zange ne muziwera. Baziweze. UCC ani. Is it how you pay me?
Okay.
No.
Njogera tugende ku nsonga mu mitamali. Bane Uganda banji besunzo okuwulira kyolowooza.
Nekolera emirimu gyange naye kyembagamba. Waliwo omwami ye yaleesa akagaali kanyabo. Waliwo kati ngoyo omwana mitwalo 5 gindeese. Ninawo omukwano gwange yansasulira programu amafuta agago. Sina amafuta ga government. Ndoka yabo bajikanika bukaniza abasekale bange balinga 10. That is Isanka Museveni for security. Sine kyemwebaza kirala. No.
Okay.
I invested, I wasted 14 years in the State House. I was humiliated. And yes, I lose my temper.
Don't lose your temper. Tugenda kusomao.
Soko soma katabo kunkunyonyole Mao.
Mao bane Uganda bagala okutegera.
Nyizo kwogera.
Okay. State House tujirese tozibiriza. Don't lose that temper. State House tujivudeko.
Kunkwata atenga ndina be nalem. Nga basajja beka wembe ate baze kungamba nti mbabazi yetu chairman wa fere bajene banjola. I was humiliated. Kabusunga nankuba ne.
Okay, State House tujivudeko. State House tujireke.
Musajja yazze wano musajja mugagga. Nabaga nti bannangu musajja no kamuwe sente na yako lebye no. Ono nnyini sa blocking. Dino genda mufuka nswere mpunu.
Nsomewa mwami Tamale, first family fears. Okay. Akatabuka nokagenda tuwa build up kumao. Oyagala tutandikire ku first family fears justifiable. Yes. Okay, good. Ali ku radio 4 and radio 7 akatabuka ngendo okusumba kaita bloody Museveni's succession.
Museveni's succession will be bloody.
You predicted?
Yes, why?
Wakawandika January 2022.
Yes.
Wemba ntandikira wano.
Nga bampadde obutwa mu recovering from poison. Bampa obutwa 5 times.
authored on Wednesday, 1st January 2020, completed at my residence at Zana. I am recovering from poison attack. Okay, first.
Oh, recording.
Yes, recording. Okay, what recording? First, family fears are justifiable. First, families everywhere are preoccupied with the fight to protect power through elections defeat or death of the incumbent. Due to panic, which is inevitable, members of the first family have devised means to ensure that power does not slip through their hands and control. One way to retain power is to have close relatives in government or the ruling party. This, however, must occupy those positions that produce leaders in case the incumbent dies. In Malawi, the late President Mutharika ensured that his brother was in position to succeed him upon his demise. However, the Constitution did not provide for Vice President Joyce Banda because the two had run with senior Mutharika on the same ballot as Vice President. Another important factor was that the young Mutharika was popular in Malawi and he had capacity to bankroll his election campaigns. In Uganda, members of the mafia gang lack a leader with such a political rallying. The group is seen as a bunch of criminals. The Ugandan mafia gang admires its Kenyan counterparts. They exaggerate the use of money in politics, and they have failed to examine how the Kenyan mafia got the money. The Kenyan mafias were helped through a grant by Britain and West Germany with £500,000 to enable President Kenyatta's government buy assets. Kenyans do not cry or lay claim on these assets because they had gone through harsh times and lost a lot. On the contrary, the Ugandan mafia has stolen from the poor. Some very formidable groups like taxi drivers, market vendors, whose land has been grabbed, know their tormentors and are buying for their blood. Another method is where a leader chooses two close confidants and puts them in government as possible successors. For example, Nyerere kept former Prime Minister Sokoine. Yes.
Edward Sokoine.
For example, Nyerere kept former Prime Minister Sokoine and Salim Ahmed Salim. When Nyerere realized that Tanzania needed a fundamental political and economic shift towards capitalism, the two ran in an election but lost to former Vice President Ali Hassan Mwinyi. Arap Moi in Kenya left the country guessing without president for years.
Vice President.
Without Vice President?
Yes.
He feared any of his colleagues to succeed him because he had humiliated them. However, when the opposition picked his former Vice President, Mwai Kibaki, whom he had humiliated on a number of occasions, he picked Uhuru Kenyatta, a Kikuyu. This decision was tactful. He knew that the Kikuyu cannot vote anyone outside their ethnic group. He had not picked Raila Odinga, whom he had detained for many years. By selecting Uhuru Kenyatta, Moi forced the opposition to pick Kibaki, who could not have made it on his own. Kibaki was, however, haunted by his earlier statements he made at the height of the reformist movement when he likened Kanu to a muvule tree which could not be cut using razor blades. Moi tactfully noted that picked Uhuru as his successor was retaining the presidency to the Kenyatta family. He knew when to use Kenyatta's contribution to the political career and when to rally Kenyans against the arrogant Kikuyu. Furthermore, a retiring president can groom his successor from his secretariat or through the country's foreign departments. Museveni has not done any of these. Finally, some leaders resort to their former opposition leaders. Is it what Museveni is planning? Dr. Kizza Besigye started FDC to protect the interests of the Western elite. This explains why he has managed to succeed where the opposition leaders have failed. He gets funding from his allies in government as well as from the mafia gang. All through his career, Dr. Besigye has never attacked activities of the mafia gang and only concentrates on the excesses of Museveni as an individual. More so, whenever the mafias threaten the national interests, Dr. Besigye lends them a hand. When Uncle Sam plotted to grab Utoda, Dr. Besigye's group participated in blocking any move to save it. You must recall that when Uncle Sam bought a fleet of Pioneer buses, none of them was attacked by Dr. Kizza Besigye's demonstrators, who were at the time invading businesses and destroying everything. Besigye has also deliberately avoided commenting on land grabbing in Bunyoro. That shows you that he is an accomplice as opposed to an activist he claims to be. Katono nnyo kanzije ntandikirawo, kanzije obulango buno. Katabo kensoma wano akaita Blood Museveni's Succession, media consultant Tamale Mirundi yakawandika omwaka gwa 2022 nga gutandika. Okay. Katandikire wali watukomye. Besigye has also deliberately avoided commenting on land grabbing in Bunyoro. That shows you that he's an accomplice as opposed to an activist he claims to be. When the mafia targets people in government for economic interests, he is never heard condemning it. Even when the mafias plot to undermine beef exported from Uganda, he keeps mum. Besigye doesn't defend other opposition leaders and only supports unity as long as he is the leader of opposition. Can Museveni allow Besigye to succeed him? Can he make the same mistake Zambia's Frederick Chiruba committed? I think no. President Chiruba sponsored Levi Mwanawasa, having been convinced by medical doctors that Mwanawasa would die in 2 years. The 2-year period was estimated based on his personal income that could not sustain his medical bills. However, the moment he took over the presidency, he started a popular anti-corruption war against Chiluba, which grossly humiliated the ex-president. What many political commentators overlook in the Byanyima factor, Besigye removed Byanyima from State House but maintained political alliances with forces inside State House. The Banyankole have a saying, empty yomwanyu ekuria ne kurundana, meaning when a native hyena kills a man, it ensures all bones are gathered for proper burial. Could Dr. Kizza Besigye be the proverbial hyena and Museveni its victim? In my opinion, Museveni has remained with one option. Instead of wasting his time and resources over his in-law, who is one of the most hated people because of his conduct compared to his other in-laws, he should unveil his son, Muhoozi, Kainerugaba. It is easier to market General Muhoozi than wasting time and resources on that in-law. Secondly, Museveni should do what Nyerere did and have 2 people in cabinet just in case. However, they should be controlled not to tear government apart. Thirdly, the military is still respected in Uganda. It is a bad idea for Museveni to think of a retired general. He can separate the two, the presidency and the chairmanship of the party. However, to improve the image of NRM as a party that can produce a successor is comparable to marketing the in-law, which is not easy. What if Museveni chooses Vice President Edward Kiwanuka Sekande as the successor? Is it possible? Strong leaders are never succeeded by those equally strong leaders. With the prevailing state of affairs, there are 2 options to counter the power of the mafia gang. 1, starting a new political party, which is completely impossible. And 2, coming up with a group to counter the mafia government. This, however, is also impossible given their wealth and the network they have in government.
Kana katabo wakawandika 1220.
Ate singo ina time. Nalikuwa daka page endala. Weewunya. Eneda chikameka.
Tusogere ndi kumao tujja kugenda kasoma masa.
Ati nkugambye eneda chikameka. Kekamu. Kubanga nze, I'm not saying I did political science. Every day kasaba okuvalu bangoba.
So
neberera wa.
Vunu lecho ochikwataganye ne Mao.
Kugambye. Tinkubuli possible areas of succession. Nakugamba.
Yes.
Nti obusika bwa Museveni bugenda kubeera mu okuyiwa omusaayi. Why? When 2 rivaling groups are fighting over each cause a right, the war cannot end. If this ono mujozono bwaba alowooza nti ndi mufukamirirako amwe emandwa tefukamira tujja kubagana emyaka 2. If the Americans believe that the Islamic fundamentalists are a threat to America,
ajabalu anampaka
paka kugwawo. If nababuulira ne mbagamba what are the channels, the providers of succession in any country? Ne mbagamba nti the first priority goes to the first family if it has conducted itself properly. I tell you, when you see me supporting Muhoozi, I know Muhoozi is marketable than Rwabogo.
So, olaba wobusika mukulondebwa kwa Mao.
Yes.
Kutya.
Anti chenkunyonyola. To which are the catchment areas of a successor? First family. Why? It's the first family that becomes the punching bag of the new regime. If we get a new leader today, he cannot solve our economic problems. Tagenda kusala bintu. Somebody told me, nti owagira nnyo Museveni naye talina kyakwa. Is it true? Nina bye namufunamu. I don't forget. Abaana bange basomera ebweru nawa. Using scholars. Omukoya yankuba navuma nazaalawe. Naye mbaga nti ndidda mu State House ngeriyo first lady omulala. Kubanga ono namuvuma nzireyo mukube. Nga bampite bako. Balowooza nzannya. Amwe munnabuddu. Once I make a statement.
So tewamuvuma naye ne bakuwaayiriza.
Omuko. Amwe mandwa. Twili ajoga mandwa ede kabaka. Kabaka tafuga mandwa. Kakati nabaga nkugambye eki. Nti nkugambye. The first family.
You punching bag ya new regime.
Nti omusajja yangambye bangambye oyagala nnyo Museveni. Yes. Museveni abadde ku TV talina kyayogedde. Ne mbagamba you were stupid. Bwogende wa dokita ne mukazi wo. Nakugamba nti omukazi ono alina olubuto. Naye wakulongoosa oba ajja kuzaala mu makubo amatuufu. Dokita talina kyangambye. Goba doka nti anaazaalira mukamu. What did you expect Museveni to tell you? We have an alternative. A Kenya Uhuru Kenyatta out of Gond Nabaganti in any election in political science. An election is a set period where governments kneel before their voters. Akalukali hoti Kenya. Naye what have they done? Uhuru Kenyatta yagandi kire biri eza akawunga nzijjeko omusolo tezikyaliyo waliyo za ttaano ate yabadde bazaala nzaale bali abakola obuwunga bazijjeewo ziri kilo 5 kati akawunga kekiro 5 kekalemeddewo. But Uhuru Kenyatta knows that after the elections, then this government erambagamba singa temuyina abasuma ababbi government can embark on the popular policies, but eventually benefits in 5 years abantu ne basanyuka. What magic did Museveni use to start UNEP to immunize abaana endwadde 5 zinamutta? Why is it that kati mukyasobola mukozesa mateeka atatutte mwana wakusibwa?
What went wrong?
Yes. Once a government stays in power for a long time, it develops political inertia. Gaga. Kakati mu Uganda.
Government ya gaga.
Ya gaga. Tuchita political inertia. Inokufuna revival. Revival churches. Abalokole. It suffers. Once a government loses public trust and confidence, everything it does becomes a referendum. Museveni yagema abaana UNEP nga abantu badduka budduso gema abaana baabwe. Mulindwa muwonge yabaga nti mbagema abange babiri baafa ng'eddagala fu. Nenga Museveni kyayogera kyonna enkyaba kikola. What has gone wrong? Once you saw musajja kasola bomugagga uganiya mu bank. Bwana Mirundi nazze wano kuva dda tebannankolako weevuwadde. Once a government starts resorting to the law, it has lost the persuasion option. Bakikyayi. Naye abakyayi Museveni sigwe bakyayi ababbi abagibbiramu. Kati oyinza okugamba saako zaaliwo dda. Oyinza okugamba rural farmers scheme yaliwo dda. Kakati olabayo excitement ku gundi eno. Palisi eriwa. Abasibe bagana batya emmere ya hoteri. Bifu bategeera bifu bya bulimba. Nabagamba nti omusajja ali mukulu wa ssomero. Embuzi zene zifa. N'aliisa abaana besomera ennyama y'embuzi ente ne zifa n'afiirwa wiiki namba bali ennyama yanti n'afiirwa embizi baagirya bwe yafiirwa omukazi we baayokya essomero yali abamanyiriza okulya ebifu kati gavumenti eno erimbye nnyo abantu naye ababbi abali mu rule of farmer scheme bebabbi be bamu bali mu myoga bebabbi be bali mu serogani y'ekibuga kati people are tired
kyova baganya kiwagira
tekiriyo fasiredi akiyingidde mwani aki baganda bayibuli ate balokole omwana yaga nti omuseke gundya deriyo omuseke kemu ng'abantu bamukowadda
ayimbirira buli
yes so ne bw'ono okiteeka mwani before you have to remove the mafias kakati nakugamba nti the first family is the bunching back of the new regime. Why? It's exciting. The only thing a new president will do is to force those people who have stolen from the poor to vomit. Ugandans are not poor because of international economy. No. The Ugandans since immemorial have been in the informal sector. Muganda tells you enimiro y'omukopi yegombolola ye. A farmer with a plantation in Uganda is rated at the Gombola chief. Asikazayo sazanachi. Eyo motoka nyemulaba the Baganda of the old days bagule motoka ono muferi ono mulenzo muferi yaze kujidabiza. If the Baganda of that time in 1958 baba la population in Buganda nga Baganda mu Buganda mulimu abantu milioni 4.5 nga Baganda bali emitwalo 9 bagula rozero ishe bana bomulembe ko tabaswe yali akijira kibireka abantu abavuganga rozero ishe bali asante obwegana sirasi ne mutesa basatu mu Africa abagula rozero ishe yes nenga Baganda bayiri ankuta did Baganda riot abaganda baratinga mwana anamunana atanu munana atanu mwemeka economic not to be and to be represented in the Ruchiko. Kakati nkubuli yankugamba ti first priority to get to produce a success
your first family
because if the first family performs well nga Museveni bwakolede gwanga lino you become the royal family. We can pick from you a Poland bali balongo babiri ngomu ye president umulala prime minister until one who died in an accident abalongo the Poland abalongo bafuga egwanga abalongo nga babawulira ku masuti
president ne prime minister
yes by India Gandhi bani
okay
so kakati that's one naye Muhoozi mumukubye nnyo nze nemva nga ewatali yadde 10 kubanga ono ajoga abantu yayina sente Museveni tayina yadde 10 bwawagira Museveni ofa bwavu if you support Museveni in NRM ofa bwavu
the president
anti alagira banande we so bani and these are the same game players bana abamuwakanya they have the money
bagaba
yes bo bagaba omanyi wali omusajja bamuyitanga Ngwema yes
Mbasogo
ndoze kotoli ejine Ngwema yakwata abaana ba primary bonna n'abakunganya ekololo n'abaganti bannange
kololo weri
baana mmwe tie Ngwema ne Katonda ani asinga abaana ne bagamba nti Katonda n'abagamba Ngwema tuwakane tie musabe Katonda abaleetere sweet muzibiriza amaso musabe Katonda abaleetere sweet tebaleeta
Katonda
n'abagamba
tugende mpola
kati musabe Ngwema
Katonda teyabawa sweet
motoka ne zijja n'ababuuza mukiddemu kye n'ababuuzizza abaana b'amasomero Ngwema ne Katonda ani asinga Ngwema kakati kye munaasabanga Ngwema munaaweebwanga kakati Museveni akulagira genda wa Nalweso yakuba ndi Museveni yampa 5 billion ne bazibba nti option namba emwe badde mu ruling family
yes
ono nanyine sinakuba mukodomiwe abakuba Muhoozi atamidde tweet bichi ba mu nyumba yi kakati the next option is what the next option is to rehabilitate your former allies as I pointed out nti buli mukulembeze agezezzaako to rehabilitate former allies bamusibye kiruwa kiruba mwana waso ya weyabukana ira mga oli corrupt namutega akabenje ka motoka kati abo bamuyita ya muri rehabilitating nga badokita bamugaye nti ajja kufa mu myaka 2 yafa mu myaka 7 kuba yali amuteza akabenje atenga obusungu obumwe nti ne kufoto no kwata na lwesabera mu Uganda
so second option
nino kukwirira omujozo
so
program zange basijja kwa nino beka so kupenyo
so second option ogambi ya chi
ani kugaye whoever tried the second option of rehabilitating your former gundi mumoyi yagana ukulu Chinyata gundi Raila Odinga yayingira mumoyi amuoba secretary general bokati kumuwa obusika yagana libulo sima gundi ani ekyo tubakimanyi moyi omuntu yenna gwosibye mu komera n'obwenya abira n'embibi
ababita
Dos Santos afiridde Spain n'abaana be babanoonya ekitegeeza Museveni ali aweya Katonda muwadde ebyebikiro alabye Mugabe alabye Mubaraka alabye Gaddafi
so kwe kusembeza Mao
if there was no counter coup in Sudan singa Bashir ali rudawo Bashir ali mu komera yazimbira banne but has not been handed over
to ICC.
Why bali abasajja baabala Bashir tayina baana niye wasanga bakazi babajjenu banne Bashir ye musajja asinza amanye Sudan teri mukulembeze wa Sudan yagezaako kutema ko South Sudan nasigalako kati has been humiliated ali mukomera lisinga amanyi
so Mwai Museveni abalaka ki mukusembeza Mao is he trying to mend bridges
Museveni is bringing hybrid when Muhoozi came out batandika kumukuba abo mu nyumba ye kuba the first family split ne bamukuba abasuppose abavuma Muhoozi ba mu family ya Museveni era nabagambye ti uyo omwana mutani wa Nadduli Jakana Museveni amuyite amugambe nti ani akulagira okunvuma ajja kwebunya abamuwa sente ba mu nyumba ya Museveni ogwo omuko gundi flat bovu yemuyita TMO si yange bajigula dda
TMO ya mukwano
bawakanka ka sente nenjivaako bakweke buli obutambi obwali kedda obwo organize tebamanyi mbuyina nzena butekangako
ombulide kipya kanka bamuwa sente
yagula kayina ya maanyi nnyo bamuwa sente try isolate ono nino mufukamira nga siri kufukamirako mando tefukamira yes don't know how to make money kakati nkugamba okyayina ebirango byokuba
tugende mumaso mwa mitamale
kakati nkugamba nti there are 3 possible ways to succeed a leader. 1, the members of the first family. I've explained that Museveni is unique. That after almost 40 years, he still has support. Because you have not seen an exodus of people getting out of his party. Even those who lose primary elections, they prefer to remain independent. They remain near the veranda of Jana obutagenda mu muliro. Kakati Museveni alina ekizibu ti ayinamu omuntu mu family ye yalwala tukiyita the shadow over the throne syndrome. Waliwo yakimuteekamu nti asobola okufuga eggwanga and is very malicious. He is the one who is financing attacks on Muhoozi. Tugenza okuwaba, tugenza okukola ki? But Muhoozi the best choice for Museveni, judging from the prevailing situation. Kakati, how can Museveni protect Muhoozi? He must remain in the army, but not doing political work. You must get an ally. Politics is based on alliances. This is where Mao comes in.
Mao comes in as an ally.
There is a possibility that in the future they will ally by Jacola alliance. Bono joke. Ontayinza kujjayo omuntu.
Kiteka kuliko diwa.
Banga.
Ndikijayo.
Ono. Ona ina organic case. Emkwatide.
Ndikijayo.
Today, members of the ICC are coming here on Wednesday. They are arriving here. I can meet them or not.
Okay. So, okay, there is a possibility.
Yes.
As
Muhoozi concentrates on his military work, has got an ally. After examining, Museveni has examined nti abaganda bagamba nti ebibite byengana okwenda kunyoko yenda kunazaalawo. Instead of having a sexual intercourse with your mother, have it on your mother-in-law. When you examine Bobi Wine, is consolidating himself, has constructed, is constructing the miscalculated. Bamulete Chibalama. Nibagamba oba monitor nibagamba. Chibalama is Museveni's hand. Chibalama nibagamba, me I know. Museveni cannot afford to disorganize. Nope. Why? Bobi Wine benefited from a confusion. Museveni was not informed that a smaller party under Lugunda's supervision was organizing a delegates conference. To organize a delegates conference, you must have 14 days. Kabushenga was involved. All of these people, the intelligence officers were. By the time Museveni realized that Bobi Wine has got a party, it was too late. Like advising your daughter not to move with the bad boys when he's already pregnant.
Kiba too late.
Kakati Museveni yalita sobola kukkiriza ate bakibalama kutuuza delegates conference bagobani Bobi Wine.
Okay.
Besi ye bakiyingiramu. Kati ate bano bakolera Bobi Wine abazungu baawani. Kati Bobi Wine yenywezezze wuwe. Nalabya abasajja babiri who are very close to Museveni nga boogera nange banziba omuyo bonna beeko baana banziba essente zange njabba bakatambi. Oli omuyagambye munne ndi omanyi omusajja kyatukoze ekintu akitujje mu kamwa badde bakiyita kyabo abakooto abajooga abantu abeefula nekiwanuka waako
abakooto wabajja omugati mu kamwa
anti abakooto nabalabye nga batudde omu n'agamba munne nze nzirukidde wa Muhoozi ono n'agamba nti ngenze mu Nuupu kakati gwe tokimanyi bano akafekete kabukidde buno babuwa ssente kati babalowooza create a situation that Mao has joined the government, create a vacancy ono munnaffe eyalwala room agenda ayingire muki mu DP mutemukitegeera
agende mu DP.
yes nombuzi embwa obubwa
atuvuma bantu mwamino.
You left the Democratic Party. Nikadino kamuwanga chikumbi. Bono boruzunga political pendulums. Mao yabu bana abujja Buganda.
Political pendulums.
Yes, they don't know that when the DP was defeated in Uganda after the 1962 elections, it retreated to northern Uganda. Mao, we are reciprocating. We are paying back. Whenever DP is affected, it retreats in the Catholic Church or goes to the north.
So is Mao getting stronger or,
yes.
He has lost it?
Let me tell you.
But numbers of DP block.
Tebaliyo. These are idiots. Mabiche. Kadu kadamu DP. Nekagenda nekaisiba kubwa meya. Kaisi. Mabiche. Naye muntu. Yali abyechi. Credible person to condemn this man Mao would be some ogerere. Those are idiots. They left. Bava makabala byo musajja kutaka lubako Mao.
Batuzizo olukiiko walabye.
Andi kubulidde beetaaga kusiba.
Owebuyikwe mukwano
gwange.
They
are being sponsored. Lulume is stupid.
Dr. Lulume
they are being sponsored by this man who is looking for a political party.
Native mabantu kwa solo abantu kwa ku radio bawuliriza abana bato
Nyambula bwe nali omwavu wandeka wonzifunye lwakyo nnondola Nyambula Wanvuma obunafu. Nyambula. Banyambula tebadda mu DP. Naye gwe kimanyi. Ndize sina kadi ye NRM naye nina ya DP.
Oyina ya DP?
Yes. Ya 1980.
Ate kibina kyaweddewo.
Ate kyaweddewo kitya. Omusajja, let me tell you.
Bano banenya Mao kubalyamu.
Whenever we get a problem in Uganda, we look for the Democratic Party. In 1969, when Obata abolished and the political parties and declared a single party state, he picked the Secretary General of DP, Basiri Batalingaya, to be his Minister of Internal Affairs. When Amin took power, he released Chiwanuka and made him Chief Justice. DP is a home of brain power. When Museveni came in 1986, he borrowed the money power from the Democratic Party. Yes or no?
True.
Today, Mao is the most clean person among the leaders of the opposition. Who can make an alliance with the Muhoozi? They are friends. You were stupid. This man, Mao, and he's stupid. You see, abantu abamu oba bali amere kitu jimmembwaza ffe. NRM entertains gives more attention to newcomers than its original supporters. The moment you support Museveni, you are dead. I wouldn't have been treated the way I've been treated. If I'm not a hard-working man, my children will not be going to school. The only consolation is that my children are very bright. They go to bad schools, but I've never seen Museveni giving me a coin. Mudino genda kokachiko, but at the canon night, but at the cani. And where are me? Babanja Sentinel, Nino Kodi, Nino Okuvera hunting it on Swerempun. May have never been hunting a dog. Never, Mubraini. Sisobola and Swerempunu. To be an advisor and Swerempunu.
You are an advisor.
I'm not. Call it to me. Back at you. What entertainment you cook? One tweet about.
Mwami Tamale,
Uganda. One. Every time Uganda is in need of a credible person, you come to the Democratic Party.
Every time Uganda needs a credible.
Yes. This is not the first time. Ben Chiwanuka.
Mawa inachagatta ku government eno.
Yes. Mao is credible. This government is dogged by the problem of human rights violations. And Museveni is a very tactful man. Has put him in the Ministry of Justice. Ministry of Justice is very important. One, we have people who have been planning to go through parliament instead of subjecting themselves to an election. Agamateka motajaga kiriza. No. He is going to restore the judiciary. Ninama simu nga wali abajoza babadde bakubira abalamuza amasimu.
Abakubira abajoza.
Lwaki Museveni yaleeta gundi yale mukasamululi. Chiwanuka ne bamukubye. We are going to have reforms, political reforms. Who is in charge of political reforms? We've been complaining about NOPU people in prison. That's an assignment of Mao. If Mao manages to release these people from prison, it will be a very big embarrassment to Bobi Wine. Why? Mao, like Bobi Wine, have been lamenting in the press conferences. Political power is the influence and advantage. When a house girl becomes a housewife, sleeps in a different bed, decides what to cook, that's where Mao has gone. He has now political power and influence, which Bobi Wine does not have. A man who has been lamenting, and Mao has got married and remained a virgin.
Mao has gotten married,
yes,
and he has remained a virgin. How? Yeah. Where is the virginity here?
I have seen Museveni signing 3 agreements. One, the Nairobi agreement that failed because of I have no time to explain. Owinye negotiated a deal between Museveni and the rebels under Okero. Owinye Dolo. It worked. And as a result, Owinyedoro was Minister of International Relations until he suffered the Butto incident. The Mamuyira Butto. The Mutwale of Erongo time Mujanjaba, changes came. He bounced back. You know, Mulvesi. To what if you know government Agamba, I prefer to work with the Northerners. Here so Bamukubi, Mao Suwe. Today, Abasajabo, Abatabanto, and Nebatula Organizabo. Baba Deba Gobabuli, Minister of Justice, Bade Mesabagamiri, Nebajao Otafiri, Nebajao no Musajawa UPC, Kuruno, Bafunye, a hostile Minister of Justice. I am attended Obsajabuno, Tuna Wumulako, what Tabantu, Obaganyo, Obawazambo, Ujogani, Mwe, Ujogans, Tanuana Mirun, Dimbafuka Miriam, Swerempun, Nena President's office, under somebody. Eyawandi kanganti to his extent the president briefing as well president through minister of president Swerempun. I went home ndiko na mundala nenga sijogedwa
alikola mu government dako.
Yes, but not this one. Eno yansala nakiriza am realist, which means any idiot who says that Mao has sold the Democratic Party is stupid.
Siba sanyifu nakamu. Bayogedde nga bonna mitafu.
Let me tell you, when Jesus picked St. Paul from Abafarisayo, where the Bafarisayo happy, when Samogere was serving government for 9 years under Museveni, Museveni found him in the government as a Minister of Internal Affairs. A group calling itself DP Mobilization Group used to fight the government to incite it to ban the democracy. What has Mao done? Mao has come with an agreement. In fact, this man who has now seen that his chances is the one who wants to create a virtue in the Democratic Party. Aje ayinsolinga ba mabiche wakola de ekibinde ekicho mabike tayinza kudda mu DP tumukuba.
ASP Charles Sina commenting on Katabo Kwali Agambye na chata tegede nali mwogezi wa police Agambye good evening Kungu.
Yes.
As usual I am tuned in to the mighty program listening to my mentor Tamale Mirundi. With due respect however I wish him to clarify on the narrative of being an accomplice Dr. Kizabesi of land grabbing in Bunyoro. I don't think failure to make a comment on all injustices translates to being an accomplice. It could be lack of knowledge about the matter. Such conclusion lacks logic, which is quite unusual of our mentor.
You compare Besigye to Raila Odinga. This is why Raila Odinga is avoiding the presidential debate. Even Kalua failed to defend Uhuru on corruption. Has Besigye ever come out openly to condemn corruption, to condemn land grabbing, to condemn grabbing of businesses? Nkugambi, let me tell you what Besigye. Bwe baleeta premier buses, Besigye yakube motoka zafana mutano za taxi. Twano nye bifananye bitubula. Nemba gamba ti intelligence ya Uganda njisaasira. How can a businessman bring a fleet of new buses into a riotous city? Fabaja mu Kampala mu Kitegere. Ekizimbe ekimukira ba IPS building kyali kyandabirwamu. When Aga Khan got credible information that Kampala was going to be a riotous city, the Americans and the British moved from there. Aga Khan turned the building into concrete. This is when a businessman brought a new fleet of buses. They were not targeted by Besigye. Besigye has never condemned the corruption. It's part of them.
Okay. Thanks for the show, Bwana Adam Kunga tuned in. Jesse Photo Studio, Chirombe. Salute to Mr. Tamale, Jambo Ndugu, okuva ku Titus, na kugamba, Chikungu, omulongo waswa Henry Kwende, namasuba, tuli live, fena, Titus Ruchereho, Gayaza, Jambo, Gambye ku olio goberera, onagamba Kungu, we are tuned in, Honorable Karuanga. Webali nyose bakuve busujjo Gambye ku olio goberera. Mgana wange Ismail Dakaba Chiyonga, namawulire Jambo. Ganti Kungu akatebete kaku webali munamawulire when kuita advisor
chimpitola me kankobolire
katono nyo Tamale
political science batugamba know your political value and commercial value. I'm not an advisor. I cannot be rated at an advisor. Advisory role is for all the people.
Okay.
And your nyumba and that I'm still active. The President Museveni always and my welfare to address my welfare can't tell the work and Nkuganti the why he was grilled in that meeting since I could mukola mu government.
Congo Mao is like Sebagala. Agrawol Omara Tubo Mao will impact nothing. After all, he has been a public reject in DP. Magala Freda Mota Kakumiro.
How can you say the Mao has been a reject and you say he has been a man twice on the Democratic Party night at delegates conference? Sebagala failed to go through a delegates conference. When somebody defeats you,
accept.
Mao is credible. I'm telling you.
He went alone.
I went alone. An agreement. And let me tell you, abantu bano basiru. Balo was anti-power and Jam State House. The moment you remove him on radio, back. Nkoko?
Ruombo?
Yes. Bakuwa Ruombo Ruamkene Nkoke Yasowani Uronda Koji. It's my brain, akili yangu. Not any job. I have no job in the government. People listen to me. It's not a DP that makes Mao. It's his brain.
Okay. Selector Bonus Kalagala Bombo. Tamale Mirundi. Mirundi Muluwero District Kwetuli. Mumbulize na ye. Mwendo jebi ntunga jituta. Okay. Webado nagamba. Gerard Kaviri. Fort Poto Jambo. Gambi Kolio Goberira. Obaka bunji wano kungu. Tamale.
Mutani wange nsereka kubye simu yagala kuogera chimuwe.
Honorable.
Muwe. Honorable nsereka.
Okay.
Simu ya nsereka.
Kamufune.
Yes.
Hala. So Honorable Muhammad Nsereko Jambo webale
ati ndako zino mbadde mukisaizinga sagala akole
Honorable Nsereko Jambo webale kugoberera
sagala
onagambye 6 Masindi Kitengule Jambo webale nyo Adam Ismail Chirasa Masindi Honorable thanks onagamba Adam Kung thanks for the program. I'm Brown from Masindi Radio 4 Mustafa Emachindye Mao Taina Chagenda kuyamba President.
Let us wait.
Okujja okay webale nyo onagamba good evening Kungu why
I was explaining
nze Shibarwe Moses ewabududa ekiryandongo kwetuli mukulu Tamale mundabire
kankubuze Have you ever seen Museveni before appointing a minister signing an agreement with him or her?
I've never. This was the first time.
This makes Mao a very important, a unique person.
Or agreement jeba signing.
Yes. Museveni to humble himself.
Ne yaganyo kuwa ekibiina ky'abanne.
No.
Yagambye agenda kukola byonna.
Senkagale wa DP. Era minister akola ku nsonga z'obwenkanya n'ebitongole biramuze. Olwalero asekanya Mao agenda n'omugogo gwa DP.
But does it make sense?
Yes.
Nti oli President
you don't know.
Opposition.
Yes. Some worked in this government and went back and raised the dust. Emyaka mwenda. Some yade on DP. DP rimunsawo. Numbers atasoma yalowooza. Is DP in the pocket? Ye for Betty banned the political parties in 69. 1980 DP was revived. Tell him mpade ya muntu. Can you say a political party? Stupidity. Can you say my intelligence? Stupidity. Museveni has known. Mao has never minister of state yaba. Nakola ono mujozi.
Okay.
When pork is rejected, a Muslim cannot eat pork. Even if it turns into sausages. Ono yensi mutamwa.
Adam, assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Thanks for the program. I'm Farida Chamugweri. Message, we are listening in and following you. Onagamba, tuuliziganye. Teacher Hilary Amanya, Jambo Kungu, ask Tamale who is likely to be the next president. Webale, or Abiona Chibale. Tuuliziganye mwami Tamale. Tuuliziganye. Hilary Amanya, Webale. Jambo Kungu, I love Tamale because he enlightens us. I'm Arnold Hitler from Pakanyi Masindi. Onagamba Kungu bali kuereza nze abalige ya Julius Chankwanzi nange kwendi nnyo mpuliriza Kaija Katera Kiryandongo Jambo Adam omusajja takube ntebe
You call me an advisor. Back at every mood.
Okay.
I'm the son.
What you ganye?
I'm a son of the one.
Title JK, Mammy Tamale. What to Jagala?
They until you who calls me that.
But you're given that title by the
general
president.
cannot be a paratoni commander. Have you ever seen it to me? May I think the president wanted to get some small money for me to address my welfare, but I'm not an advisor.
Juria Bunyoro,
I'm above that.
Tawanyi Joshua Webale, Kongo, Alex Magezi, Jambo, Nzebawa Nalonge Machindi Webale, Nanongo Mutula Vide, Muzukuru Omugenza Hassan Webale, Kongo, and Omukukuna Tamale, we are listening in, Tindiewa Apollo from Rusangura, Masindi, Heren Masindi Jambo, Kongo, Omukunavu Munda Vide, Onagamba Walukaga, Ndibusegat, Naga Tamale Mirundi, ke Anonagamba, President Museveni on that pledged 80 million as a request from him to those who stepped down for the flag bearer NRM, but Mr. Tamale should assist me. Joshua Manyire Chiza Masindi, former mayor. Former mayor akugambye.
Andi kankubuli wali wono musajja gwenkubidde simu. Mbunze bandu opinzenga LDC. Nemugayi was stupid. Me I left the state house 10 years ago after failing to defend my job. So how abaganda baganti osaboti omuzimu obuwangazi obanga nze ekyango omukoya ngoba ate na defending amwe politics. Let me tell you, a political agreement is guided by 3 issues. One, if a political agreement, the conditions under which is signed the change is null and void. Kati goba wava mu kalunga ati bazi kuwadde tobanja. Two, if a political agreement is implemented 40% is a done deal. Museveni yagamba mukasiko kati mulaba akasiko. Naduli abadde amanya akasiko mutabani wa akapamye.
Abantu bagaye basule bulungi mu mitamale.
Naye ko oliddemu okumpita advice.
Adam Kungu Mwami Tamale Mirundi tumukomeza wano mutabani wa Yohana Mirundi.